Thank you all so much for coming. How about live music with a real audience? Good evening, everyone. My name is Demondre Thurman, and I'm co-conducting with Mr. Rose this week. We've had such an amazing time working with these young people. So parents, I'd like for us to thank you guys for loaning us your children for these 3 days. Give it up for your folks, folks. All right. I know it's not easy to have done that, just right after COVID, but I can't tell you how amazing it's been for us to spend time with young people, get their energy, and help them learn a little bit about music over this summer. It's been really great. The first piece we played, you could probably tell, was inspired by the music of Star Wars from the movie. Just terrific stuff, giving us an opportunity to learn 16th notes, which are often scary, particularly for us low brass players. So it's nice to do that. The next piece that we're going to play for you is a set of dances. We're going to play one movement, La Battaglia, the battle, from a piece by Sasato. Sasato was writing music in the 1600s, so this is very old music, Renaissance music. And the music from back then was all dance inspired. So if you find yourself doing a two-step, you'll understand why. This is La Battaglia, the battle by Sasato.
and he wrote this piece to the gods of rhythm using the West African djembe, rhythms of India, and also some Gregorian chant from Western Europe. We're going to play an excerpt of that piece that uses the djembe and the Indian rhythms. We thought it would be good for the students to also learn some traditional West African music that inspired this piece. So they're going to be playing conga drums from Cuba, and a djembe here, and we have some bongos, and I'll be playing some drums on the bottom. This harvest dance was written, actually not written, but it was invented 500 years ago. This is traditional working music. We were out in the fields harvesting crops in Guinea or Mali or Burkina Faso. We might have a group of drummers playing to keep the rhythm of the work going, but also just to take your mind off of the long labor. This was way before iPods and music on your cell phone. So this is a harvest dance, but it can also be used for crops. First, Dave Koash will present an excerpt of To the Gods of Rhythm.
Just a couple of quick words about this piece. In this tradition of hand drumming around the world, a lot of times a drum stroke is associated with a syllable, like doom or ta, tak. And so there's literally a drum language that many apprentices have to learn to speak before they're allowed to touch the drums and play. So what you're going to be seeing me do is a combination of that kind of thing where I have a word for this, a word for this, and a word for that. And that should be a little bit more clear.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Jerry Rose. I'm the education director for the Brass Band of Battle Creek. It's so nice to see you all here, and it's been so wonderful to work with your students this week, these last 3 days. You know, what you just saw and what you're going to see all evening is what it's all about here. It's having your kids play side by side with the world-class artists from the brass band of Battle Creek. And that's a demonstration of all the cool, one of many cool things that I've seen as I've kind of been able to walk around the school and see the different sectionals working this week. I hope that your students have shared some of the things at home. They've certainly shown a lot of enthusiasm for us. So we're going to go back to the full band now, and I'd like to welcome my co-conductor, Mr. Devondre Thurman, to the stage, and they'll be performing a march, a famous march by Kenneth Alford, who is kind of the John Philip Sousa of Great Britain. He's kind of like their march king, and it's a march that he wrote in 1914. You probably will recognize, called Colonel Bogey. The band's next selection is a song that I remember listening to with my children on the radio in the car, or on the sound system in the car as we went on trips. One of those songs that I heard over and over and over again. But my kids are growing up, and it's been a while since I'd heard it, so it's been a pleasure this week. This is a song that's a traditional calypso song from the Caribbean, and it's called Tingaleo.
All right, thanks everybody. The next piece that we'll present to you on the concert, I'll be playing as a soloist. And I'll be accompanied by an electronic track that you'll hear throughout the hall. So during COVID, a lot of us professional musicians had to really quickly figure out new ways to make music, because all of a sudden, March of 2019, or 2020, the way we knew to make music stopped. And so many composers and project planners and people of that nature had us all buying really nice microphones and really expensive digital workspaces or whatever they're called, and myself included. And so I thought, well, I want to keep making music during COVID. Even though it will be in my living room, I still want to keep making music. So a friend of mine, Ben McMillan, had sent me a long time ago this piece, Mandelbrot's Dream, and it just sat in my email for a long time because, during the normal sort of flow of life, it's hard to pick up things that you didn't choose. And so I remembered that, and I went into my email and I said, hey, Ben, do you mind if I record this piece and put it out there on YouTube and some of these virtual concerts that I'm a part of? And he was like, oh man, that would be great. Would you please do it? And so I did. So that is out there on YouTube somewhere, but this is actually the very first time that I'll perform this piece live. So this is Mandelbrot's Dream by my good friend, Ben McMillan. This work? All right, before Mr. Rose comes out, I'm going to take an opportunity to get our stand back organized. Give me 30 seconds. Boom. Okay, I'm back. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed that. The next piece that we're going to play is a piece that I just learned about not too terribly long ago. The original song that you see in the program is actually a piece of classical music, and it's describing the struggles of Russian men and women fighting up the Volga River. So it's actually not a pleasant, song in terms of the lyrics, but it's such a great melody that not only have jazz composers taken it and done things with it, pop composers, as well as people like Frank Sinatra, loved the tune so much that they made it their own. So this is our rendition of Volga Boatman. Welcome back, Mr. Rose.
Well, as you can tell, the kids have worked hard. This is 3 days worth of music that they've learned. They started this 3 days ago. We're really proud of them. I have to say that what's happened during those 3 days has everything to do with our wonderful faculty, and I would like to introduce them to you now. I'd like to start with our brass band of Battle Creek artists. Let's have one more round of applause for Mr. DeMondre Thurman, our conductor and euphonium teacher. Mr. Richard Kelly from Boston. June Park, trumpet cornet from Kansas City. Mr. William Russell from Chicago and of the Boston Brass. You've already heard from Mr. John Beck, percussion from North Carolina. And Mr. Dave Koash from Florida. Now, working with middle schoolers it takes a unique set of skills as a teacher. And one of the things that's worked out very well this week is that we matched with these world-class brass band of Battle Creek artists. We also matched up people that I consider to be experts in the field of middle school instrumental music teaching. And I would like to introduce those people to you now. First of all, Amanda Burdett, Director of Bands at Marshall Middle School. Stacy Detkin, recently retired Director of Bands at Charlotte Middle School. Lawrence Hoffman, who is the band director at Northwestern Junior High School in Battle Creek. Should say Northwestern Middle School. I'm an old Battle Creek person. And then Shelley Zeckley on percussion, who is the director of bands at Springport Schools. Thank you so much, staff, for your contribution this week. And as you can tell, one of our goals for this concert was not just to have the students play for you and play with the brass band of Battle Creek artists, but of course to have the brass band of Battle Creek artists play for the students and for you. It's an inspiring thing to hear, and we've heard some great performances so far. Now we're going to hear Rich Kelly on trumpet and William Russell on tuba with Mr. John Beck on percussion, and they will be playing an arrangement. And, Dave Koash also on percussion. Some of this came together rather quickly. Anyone else joining in? Okay. Just the four. Okay, gotcha. All right. They'll be performing St. Thomas.
Gee, that's really a tough act to follow, isn't it? Let's give these guys one more round of applause. Good evening. I'm so glad that you could join us tonight. We have had a great 3 days with these students and with this faculty, but I want to thank somebody in particular who really made this event happen. Jerry, could you come out here for a minute? So Jerry Rose is our Director of Education, and he kind of put this whole thing together. So he's been working very hard. We did a week-long high school camp last week, and then turned right around and did a 3-day middle school camp this week. So I want to give a great big shout out to Mr. Jerry Rose. Shannon Akins, and I'm so fortunate to be the executive director of the mighty brass band of Battle Creek. This week's middle school camp, along with last week's high school camp, is made possible by a wonderful group of sponsors, foundations, and individuals who believe, like we do, that programs like these are vital for the youth in our communities. We thank them very much for believing in us and believing in those youth. We have a donation jar out in the lobby if you would like to help continue the programs that you see from the Brass Band of Battle Creek with our youth in our community. So we invite you to do that. You can also make a donation online or send in a check. We appreciate all of that. So thank you very much. I get the honor tonight of announcing the final piece conducted by Mr. Demondre Thurman, Pirates of the Caribbean.